I got to say, your governor's a rock star. Let me tell you, when Governor Scott Walker stood up and took on the union bosses, and when we saw vicious personal attacks, when we saw vicious threats, and millions of men and women across the state of Wisconsin stood with your governor and said, "We got your back," I want to tell you, it inspired millions of Americans across this country. It inspired me. And it demonstrated that when we, the people, stand together, we can beat the special interests that are bankrupting our kids and grandkids. And the courage and principle that Scott Walker and the people of Wisconsin demonstrated in that fight over and over and over again is exactly the courage and principle we need in Washington, D.C. to turn this country around. And I am so humbled, so honored to be standing here with Governor Walker. Scott, thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your tremendous leadership. You know, you can learn a lot about a word by looking to its history, looking to its roots. If you look at the roots of the word politics, it has two parts. Poly, meaning many, and ticks, meaning blood-sucking parasites. And that is a fairly accurate description of Washington, D.C. But you know, we're here tonight for something a lot more important than politics. We're here tonight because our country's in crisis. We're here tonight because we're bankrupting our kids and grandkids. Because our constitutional rights are under assault each and every day, and because America has receded from leadership in the world. And it's made the world a much more dangerous place. And yet I'm here tonight with a word of hope and encouragement. All across the state of Wisconsin, all across this country, people are waking up. And help is on the way. This next election is going to focus on three critical issues: jobs, freedom, and security. Let's start with jobs. I want to take a minute and talk to all the single moms who are working 2 and 3 part-time jobs, who've had your hours forcibly reduced to 28, 29 hours a week because Obamacare kicks in at 30 hours a week. I want to talk to all the truck drivers, all the plumbers and electricians, all the union members, all the working men and women with calluses on your hands, who've seen your wages stagnating year after year after year. Cost of living keeps going up, and yet somehow your paycheck doesn't seem to keep pace. I want to talk to all the young people coming out of school with student loans up to your eyeballs, scared. Am I going to get a job? What does the future hold for me? And you know, the mainstream media, they try to tell us this is the new normal. This is as good as it gets. Well, let me tell you, that is an absolute lie. You know, it's easy to talk about making America great again. You can even print that on a baseball cap. But the real question is, do you understand the principles and values that made America great in the first place? The heart of our economy is not Washington, D.C. The heart of our economy is millions of small businesses all across the United States of America. You want to unleash jobs, what you have to do is take the boot of the federal government off the back of the necks of small businesses. If I'm elected president, we will repeal every word of Obamacare. We'll pass common sense health care reform that makes health insurance personal and portable and affordable and keeps government from getting in between us and our doctors. And we will pass a simple flat tax. So every American can fill out our taxes on a postcard. And when we do that, we should abolish the IRS. We're going to rein in the EPA. And the federal regulators who have descended like locusts on small businesses, killing jobs all across this country. And we're going to stop amnesty and secure the borders and end sanctuary cities and end welfare benefits for those here illegally. And let me tell you what's going to happen when we do all of that. We're going to see millions upon millions of new high-paying jobs. We're going to see jobs coming back to America, back from China, back from Mexico. We're going to see manufacturing jobs coming back to the state of Wisconsin. We're going to see wages rising for Americans all across this country. We're going to see young people coming out of school with 2, 3, 4, 5 job offers. We'll see morning in America again. The second critical issue this election's about is freedom. You know, the passing a few weeks ago of Justice Scalia underscored the stakes of this election. It's not just one, but two branches of government that hang in the balance. We are one liberal justice away from a radical 5-justice majority, the likes of which this country's never seen. We are one justice away from a Supreme Court that would strip the religious liberty from Americans all across this country. We are one justice away from a Supreme Court that would effectively erase the Second Amendment from the Bill of Rights. We're one justice away from the Supreme Court making us subject to the World Court and the United Nations and international law and giving away U.S. sovereignty. Now, two debates ago, Hugh Hewitt asked a question about religious liberty and the Supreme Court. And Donald Trump turned to me. He said, "Ted, I've known a lot more politicians than you have." Well, in that he is correct. Donald Trump has been supporting liberal Democratic politicians for 40 years. I have no experience with that. But Donald continued. He said, "Ted, when it comes to the Supreme Court, when it comes to religious liberty, you got to learn to compromise. You got to learn to cut deals with the Democrats and go along to get along." Well, let me be very, very clear to the men and women of Wisconsin. I will not compromise away your religious liberty. And I will not compromise away your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. third critical issue in this race is security.